Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. It is Monday, July 15th. And as always, Joe Biden is by far the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's great being back with you on this fine Monday morning. We got a lot of news to cover. And it is also the start of the RNC, the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. We will be streaming sporadically throughout the next few days here, not just covering the RNC, but we will be back later today covering the White House press briefing. I believe that starts at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, we all know how Karine Jean-Pierre is, the Biden administration, on showing up late, but we will be live at spot on 11:30 a.m. But like I said, we'll be going live sporadically all this week. So, a lot of news coverage, obviously, regarding what happened on the 13th. We were live for it. We all saw Donald Trump's assassination attempt. Terrible thing to have to witness live. But there's a lot of eyewitness accounts. There's a lot of ex-Secret Service members coming out, like Dan Bongino, and giving their interviews, which we will cover. There's people coming out that are ex-military personnel, ex-snipers that we will cover. And we're going to just talk about a key detail that either I'm just talking out of my you-know-what, or I am correct and that nobody's talking about. And when I mean nobody, I tried to look for the last 2 days to see TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. So I could very well be wrong on a key detail that saved Donald Trump's life, but we will get there when we get there, folks. The first part I want to show you is some eyewitness testimony here of people that were boots on the ground that saw what took place. And hopefully a lot of what I'm about to show you a little bit later today, you haven't seen yet. So here's an eyewitness talking about just how things keep getting worse for the Secret Service and their handling of this whole ordeal. Go ahead and roll it.
The fence line, I'm just meeting him right now. Sir, thank you so much. You're talking to KDKA. Can I have your name and what did you see and hear?
This is Ben Macer. I was at the same point that probably the witness you were talking to earlier. I was up at the fence line. Saw the guy move from roof to roof, told an officer that he was on the roof. The officer come looking, I went back to where heard that there was somebody that could see the person, so I went back to where they were standing, saw the person, went back and told the officer again that if he goes back to that particular spot, he can see the person, figuring that he would go in radio. And when I turned around to go back to where I was is when the gunshots started, and then it was just chaos, and we all came running away, and that was that.
Let me get this.
Now, what you're going to see here from a lot of eyewitness accounts is the time between this dude was spotted and the time that the guy shot at Donald Trump versus the time that the Secret Service actually neutralized him. Now, I will give credit where credit is due. From the first shot that was fired to the Secret Service shot was anywhere about 20 seconds, so relatively quickly. But we will have a side-by-side matchup, you guys. I have a timer for you. I have a clip that's side-by-side of Donald Trump talking, and then the eyewitness accounts filming the actual shooter on the roof. And it will show you exactly how long it took for them to take this guy out. So here's another angle of people knowing, like everyone else other than the Secret Service, local police department, what was going on with the shooter on the roof. So here's this vantage point.
Our country, probably 20 million people. And you know, that's running. A little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Look at a cop just walking. And then he runs.
Our country.
God. You're going to see that in multiple clips of people warning police officers, Secret Service, hell, some sort of security. This is just one. Leisurely fucking walking. Just leisurely. We'll play it again. But like I said, you're going to see other clips of this. This is not the only clip of just people just walking around that are being notified.
Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart.
Watch that cop right there in the middle of your screen, just walking, not running. See, other people are running, but just walking leisurely, casually. Like, oh, there's a guy on the roof with a fucking gun. Oh, pointed at the president. Oh, okay.
That's a couple of months old, and if you
That guy's running. Look at the cops just walking.
Take a look what happened.
Really? Is there a guy up there? You see something, huh? A guy with a gun? Huh. You're going to see that a lot today, folks. It's not just one. There's a lot of guys just walking around, just walking. So we get Benny Johnson. A lot of people, have connections. A lot of people are ex-military, watch the show. Hell, we're a small channel here. We got people that are ex-military watching the show. And I'm sure when I give you the key detail of what I think also saved Donald Trump's life, amidst other things, you guys might call me out. So there was some text message here from a sniper to Benny Johnson. And he said, this guy's a pro, 20 plus years of military service, trained with Secret Service, currently active duty. Listen to this. Quote, I have no fucking clue what they are doing. I'm still trying to wrap my head around a building being 150 yards away that was outside the security perimeter and had rooftop access. I've trained with and I guess it's supposed to be competed against the Secret Service snipers, and they are the fastest and most accurate shooters I've ever seen. The fact that they let this happen makes less than 0 sense for everybody, even an average Joe like all of us. I mean, we were screaming, right? How does a guy sit there and crawl on a white rooftop and get this off? Don't worry, we got a lot of video clips here for you today, folks. A lot. So the text goes on and said it could have been a breakdown in communication between local, state police, and Secret Service. We know there is Secret Service detail that was removed from Donald Trump. We know that there was recommendations, whether it's from the Trump campaign or the Trump team, that we need more security. They weren't willing to do it multiple times. But it says, furthermore, it could have been poor planning due to campaign fatigue. It could have been DHS not assigning enough assets. One heard theories that the shooter was using subsonic ammo, which is less accurate at distance and might have had a bad zero on the weapon. We will get to that later because this plays into a little bit of what I believe possibly may have saved Donald Trump's life slightly. Okay, it doesn't change him tilting his head or anything. That was part of it, but I'm getting you something new that I ran some calculations on that I could full-fledged just be wrong on, but we'll see. Furthermore, it says it looks to me like he's trying to locate the exact position of the shooter. It looks like he's in the area, then comes off the scope to see the bigger picture, which is true. That's what we all see as well, right? He's ducked, and then he lifts up to get a more of a broad view of it, which is normal. And then he comes back down and kind of tries to hone in. So you see him readjusting. But like I said, the gap between when that happens is insane. And again, we will do a side-by-side for all of you in just one moment here. We have a former Army sniper and Congressman, Corey Mills, says that the Secret Service, that this was a massive negligence to the point of me speculating what was intentional and what wasn't. Meaning, kind of asking himself, and I think a lot of us, was this an inside job? Was the CIA a part of this? What was really going on? How is something like this even possible this close to a former president? Here we go.
And Florida Congressman and former U.S. Army sniper, Corey Mills. What kind of shot was this, Corey, from 130 yards?
Look, at the end of the day, this is a shot that your basic training boot camp soldier is requested to make within their 9-week period. This is one of the easiest shots, and they train all the way out till 300 or 500. And when I was doing the counter sniper, it wasn't with the United States Army. It was actually when I was with the State Department and was doing this exact thing, which is trying to look at going out with an advance team, establishing what the perimeter is. And then as a sniper, when you would set up, you'd put together your range sketch or your range fan cards. And that would tell you where your 100, your 200, your 300, and you'd identify the areas of threat that you would be able to mitigate. And if there's multiple targets, you understand that your elevation and windage knob wouldn't have to be messed with, especially at 160 yards. You could literally just look, quickly glance, and know from the reference point, whether it be a building, whether it be...
I need you to listen to that carefully, because this is what I'm going to get into a little bit later that nobody's talking about.
A lone tree, whether it be a parking lot, maybe it's a road. Bottom line is that this is massive negligence to the point of me speculating on what was intentional and what wasn't.
Wow. When you're doing a site survey and you're seeing this rooftop not that far away, why did it look like the counter sniper team was a little surprised?
You know, I can only speculate, and we'll have to wait until the investigation comes out, that they thought local law enforcement was potentially climbing up onto the roof when they saw a dark object on a light roof. But here's the issue.
Wait, you're saying maybe they misconstrued crooks for local law enforcement?
It's very possible. I don't want to speculate until the investigation is over, but the bottom line is that if you saw someone climbing onto a roof that you hadn't authorized any clearance on, it's got a clear line of sight. It's exactly adjacent to the shooting where the president was sitting, and you're talking about a pop shot, and you got people yelling, and there should have been comms. The minute that local law enforcement, who apparently had a rifle pointed on, there should have been an emergency frequent comms channel that they could have said, we have a shooter on the roof, shooter on the roof. Secret Service should have rushed the stage and immediately took the president and took him off, and then responded to the counter sniper. The shot should not have gone off. That is the failure in itself. You're supposed to be able to try and, the best security is when you go in and you're actually able to prevent an incident, not react to an incident.
Correct.
Even if you would have left a law enforcement officer's patrol car in that parking lot with the lights on, that could have been a deterrent. But when you have nothing that is actually showing force protection, you're encouraging this. Look, I'm not sure about who the individuals are on the individual detail Secret Service, but I can tell you under this Biden administration, the one thing I've seen is massive DEI hires. And I can tell you,
that's something they're talking about a lot. They're talking about a lot regarding the DEI hires that have been implemented in the Secret Service. Other people are talking about the size of some of these Secret Service members, predominantly women, that aren't even big enough to sit there and protect Trump. Folks, I'm about 5'9", 5'10" on a good day. I should not be protecting Donald Trump because I'm not tall enough and big enough. I mean, his head was poking out. Donald Trump's a big man. You're going to need big men unless you can find a huge woman that could do it fine. But these people couldn't holster their weapon. They were sitting there going like this. They didn't know what to do. Like, of all people that are supposed to look calm, it's the Secret Service that trains in doing this. But when you get DEI hires, this is what happens. When you get people that are not qualified for the job, this is what happens. Well, we have up next Dan Bongino talking to Jesse Waters about this. This is the one that we wanted to hear from. This is who we wanted to hear from. Ex-Secret Service member Dan Bongino himself. We will get to it in just one moment, folks. We're looking at the live chat. We got a lot of people here with us. A lot of people with us, and a lot of people, folks, support the show. A lot of people take care of us over here. And one of the people we want to spotlight today is when you think about your traditional pet supplements, we all have animals and treats. What flashes to your mind first? The gross smell, the slimy moisture, texture. Let's face it, why would you feed your family members snacks that are so foul smelly, so disgusting, worse tasting that you could never think to eat it yourself? Also, how could it be good for them? So that's why Rumble started what's called Positive Health. Play on words there, a company founded by people who are not only fighting for free speech, you see what's going on with the Biden administration, the progressive left, but love their pets enough to make them healthy, clean ingredients, and great tasting superfood. These supplement waffles and pet products that are human grade, meaning you can eat them yourself, you can feed them to grandma. Yes, that means you could eat them as well. Each positive superfood waffle is packed with essential nutrients, minerals, and vitamins that our companion needs daily to stay healthy and full of energy. You can get 15% off, folks, by clicking on the link. Studio is going to be your keyword there. Use code STUDIO to save 15% off. There's a flash sale going on right now, and if you have a pet, you got a canine, you got your best buddy, make sure you're feeding them the good stuff and not the crap stuff from China, folks. They're trying to kill our animals. I grew up with animals. I had always like 4 dogs, 3, 4 cats at a time. When I was at a babysitter, we had an iguana, we've had a turtle, snakes, all sorts of stuff growing up. So make sure you take care of your pets, folks. And that's why we want to spotlight that. And also Rumble takes care of us. Well, let's jump right back here. We got Dan Bongino talking about what took place. This is really the most important interview, I think, of all in terms of not just ex-Secret Service members, but military just in general. Here we go.
Former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino joins me now. Is this gross incompetence, or is it something even more scary that we can't even think about?
No, it's gross incompetence. How do you think about it, right? The counter sniper team, they train out, the Secret Service counter sniper team, obviously there to mitigate a sniper threat. They train out to 1,000 yards. So we're talking about, say it was 200 yards. It was actually less than that where this shooter was, right? You're talking about a fraction of what they're trained at. They're also trained to spot guys in ghillie suits, cracked open windows.
Right.
He's on a white roof in broad daylight.
He's on a white roof.
Now, again, it'd be easy for me to say, oh, well, let's not get into Monday morning quarterbacking. Bro, it's not a freaking football game. It's the president of the United States' life. The Secret Service has one job. Well, outside of counterfeiting and protection is one job. You keep the body alive no matter what. They came within a millimeter of this guy losing his life. I don't understand some of the commentary that's, they did a great job. Well, the body guys, that response was, brave. They ran up there. They didn't know there could have been 10 more shooters.
Right.
No doubt. Know those guys. Pretty heroic what happened there. But the security failure in the perimeter is a complete, total debacle. No one should defend this.
So when you have guys, we just played the sound, when you have fans saying, hey, there's a guy with a gun over there to multiple law enforcement guys, and they still are just looking around like this and no one. How does that happen?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm getting from a number of sources that people are feeding to me their information, obviously, because they want to fix it. They're concerned, and I think you're going to see a lot of whistleblowers. I'm hearing there were very, very few. I don't want to give an exact number, but very few actual, I don't think anyone else has reported this, actual Secret Service poststanders at that site. That they were temp HSI,
right.
Homeland Security folks, they're great folks. I'm not knocking them, but that's not what they do specifically. We do protection, and we're trained for that. So I'm hearing that. I'm also hearing that the counter sniper team, that they had a problem seeing over the elevation. That's why I didn't engage right away.
Oh, come on.
But that's not the problem. The problem, well, it's the problem, but that's not the problem is, where the hell was the aerial visual support? Why was there no helicopter? Why was there no drone? Why was there no FLIR? Why was there no thermal, forward-looking infrared? How the hell is the crowd acting as the freaking counter surveillance operation?
I know, if that's the best.
Spot on, Dan. Very spot on. How is it the crowd? And again, we'll do the side-by-side, folks. I got a lot of stuff here for you today. We got time codes. We got it all. How is this possible? And by the way, there's a water tower. There's other higher vantage points than sitting on a rooftop here. I'm not saying they shouldn't have been there. They should have. But it gives a little bit of, a little credibility of, hey, if we get a bunch of people that don't know what the hell they're doing and kind of subpar training, they're from the local police department, they were maybe, security for PepsiCo most recently. Maybe we throw those on there and, do an inside job here. Don't pull the trigger. Don't give the comms. Hey, the comms messed up. Some guy unplugged it. Whatever it may be, a little weird. Even the guy that sat there and you're looking at the guy that protected Barack Obama when he was in office. I guess he did a little bit of a stint with the Clintons, the Bushes, just a little weird how even he's dumbfounded on it all. Like, a pretty remarkable thing, right?
Best asset you have is random Trump supporters telling police that there's a guy with a gun. What technology are they deploying? They're bragging about they have all this new technology. I didn't see it. Tell me about when they rush him over to the van, I guess, the vehicle. It seemed like some of the Secret Service agents, I just don't know if they had the stature that I would expect to see and the gravitas that I would expect to see protecting the former president.
Well, the rule is maximum to the protectee, minimum to the problem, right? Because you don't know how many problems there are. So if you try to rush to one problem, like the Malcolm X shooting, and there's another problem over there, you're going to wind up getting dead quick. So they did the right.
I don't mean to be an a-hole, you guys, but there is a difference between men and women, okay? I know people don't want to hear it. I know these feminists don't want to hear it. I'm sorry, but there is a biological difference between men and women. If that gets me canceled on YouTube, I don't care. It's a fact, all right? If I was the president, quite frankly, the lady I see on my screen, I don't want having protecting me. If I go into war, I don't want a 5'2" woman that's going to have to sit there and somehow drag my ass out of war or some sort of front line when I'm fucking injured. She's not going to be able to throw me over her shoulder. I'm sorry. I don't know why you are there. Unless you're some god, but you get what I'm saying. I'm a little flustered here because it just seems like incompetence at so many different levels. It really is head spinning that not only can I not wrap my head around it, but people that actually served in the military and the Secret Service can't wrap their head around what took place. Why they are here? Because DEI, you guys.
Right thing by rushing to the protectee. On the evac out, yeah, you do see a couple of agents who one couldn't reholster the weapon and things like this. So, there were some definite.
And the other one was like 5'4".
Yeah, I mean, you're going to find out in the coming weeks that the physical fitness standards for men and women are different. That's weird because the protectee's weight and height doesn't change for a man or a woman.
Does Cheadle get fired anytime soon.
She needs to go immediately. She has disgraced the Secret Service multiple times. She needs to go. She needs to be fired ASAP, but Mayorkas doesn't have the cojones to do it.
Biden.
Mayorkas sucks. He's a threat not only to this country, and I really do mean that. You know, Joe Biden's like, oh, threat. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has allowed 10 plus million people, we don't know who they are, to sit there and pour into our country. We got terrorists in our country. We got a kid that just basically tried to assassinate the president. And you got all these DEI hires that don't know what's going on. They're running around just like, holy fuck, what do I do? Unbelievable. So let's get to the timestamp that I was talking about here. So we have a side-by-side. On the left-hand side, you're going to see eyewitness accounts, okay? This is matched up to Donald Trump's speech here. I want you guys to see the time between everybody's going, fucking guy on the roof with a gun, versus, I don't know, shots fired. Here we go. We're going to play it in its entirety.
He was doing his job. I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with the gorgeous ocean.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down. You see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And still I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a senator.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look.
And it's
There
not
he is.
easy, because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here. And it's much tougher than if it happened. We have the strongest border ever. In recorded history, we had the best border. In fact, if they could ever put up a chart, I don't know if they can do it. Do you guys have access to that chart that I love so much? You don't mind if I go off teleprompter, do you? Because these teleprompters are so damn boring, I try and explain that. Oh, there's it. Wow. You guys are doing it. They're getting better with time. My guys, take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. See the big red arrow, right? So that's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that says,
God, it looks like over 2 minutes to me. I don't know about you guys. Looks like 2 minutes to me. This is the best the United States have to offer, huh? Protecting a former president. We're supposed to have faith in all this. Really? Over 2 minutes. Guy with a gun. People running like, fuck, man, the guy's on the roof. Like, mind you, there's other angles of all this, okay? This is just what can fit on the screen, you know? Like, people running, shouting guy with a gun, guy on the roof, police officers fucking everywhere, just walking. But we're supposed to sit here and not have questions. Unbelievable. I'm not laughing because of what happened. You guys know I'm a big Trump supporter. I wouldn't want this for anybody. I'm laughing because it's so preposterous that this is what goes on here. Over 2 minutes, huh? Over 2 minutes. Bruce, thank you so much, sir, for becoming a part of the Bald Bread Army, folks. If you didn't already know, we do have a membership here. 99 cents a month. You can feed a bald conservative. But jokes aside, it does go back into the show, man. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. You know, it's Bidenomics. Biden's running this country into the ground. You're throwing your hard-earned money at somebody like me. I greatly appreciate that, man. The movement is continuing. So let's break down a little bit of what this looks like, because what we just saw was over 2 minutes of people screaming guy on the roof. And that's what we know about, by the way. We don't know the comms. We don't know what's being said by local police. We don't know any of that. And we don't know if it actually could technically be in the 3-minute range. I've heard rumors it actually started about 3-4 minutes. So with that being said, I want to talk about this, okay? So let's get this queued up here for you. So this is kind of the route that the shooter would have taken. There was a ladder set up. A ladder. Wow, Bruce gifting 10 memberships. Hell yeah, get that membership while you can, folks. Bruce is doing us a service here. Thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you for taking care of the members here, the Patriots. There's a ladder here, and he army crawls up, right? There's people in the field that are saying, hey, guy on the roof that you just saw, yada, yada, yada. And look at this. 135 meters. Now, I'm going to get into what nobody's talking about. You slightly heard an ex-military member say this, and this is where you guys are going to probably call me out if you're ex-military or know more about long-range rifles, stuff like that. I tried to run the calculations on what I'm about to say. So as you see here, it's about 135 meters, 400 feet, give or take, from the shooter to Donald Trump, okay? But look at what's being stated, is that there was a 5-mile-an-hour crosswind. And this is why I think one of the pictures that's being shown is slightly wrong. And I think there was many reasons as to why Donald Trump is still alive today. And I want to play out all those reasons. But the reason I'm about to mention here with this crosswind was I think that had an impact of about 1.5 inches on pushing the bullet back and not into Donald Trump's temple. That's what I think what played a role into saving Donald Trump's life. And that was one of the key details I think is being left out. So here's the actual, let me see if I can move myself here for a second. This is what everybody's showing on social media, right? Twitter, doesn't matter what it is. So Donald Trump, let's play it and then we'll go back. But it shows him leaning, right? You all said, hey, it is just a millimeter, his head tucked a little bit. Let's watch it and then we'll talk about it. So here's slow motion. He grabbed his ear, right? So we'll go back.
We see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Right there. That tilt saved him.
Something
right here, you're going to see him turn his head back to the monitor. That tilt, right there. Everybody's talking about that, and they're not wrong.
Take a look what happened.
That head tilt, yes, 100% saved his life. But here's the other details that aren't being given. One, we're being told that there was, in fact, a police officer that did make his way up to the roof. The gunman allegedly, again, this is all alleged, we don't have the full details yet, allegedly pointed the rifle at the police officer, which would have taken away from the calculations that he's making in terms of taking his aim to Donald Trump initially. I think he brought the firearm back, looked at the president, probably didn't have a good zero on the rifle in the first place, which plays into it. But I also think the 5-mile-an-hour crosswind takes, look at that top bar on the right-hand side. I think that bar is 1.5 inches into Donald Trump's head. And this is, again, I could be wrong on my calculations here from the distance. When you take the grain of the bullet, right, the temperature, it's about 15, 20 feet in the air, 135 meters, that's 2,250, roughly. I think it's enough. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know exactly. It could have been more windy. We know it was windy because we saw the flag in that famous photo, right, of his fist bump in the air. I think it could deviate, maybe, and I could be talking about my ass here, about 1.5 inches. So not only that, but, you take all those details into account. I think that's one detail a lot of people are leaving out, is that I think that guy had more of his crosshairs more on Donald Trump's head. I think that if you take that 1.5 inches and slide that towards Donald Trump's temple, he had him right here. He had Donald Trump squared right here in the head. Who else got hit right here in the head? JFK. I think that guy's crosshairs was right here. I think as Donald Trump tilted, it went like that. That's what I think took place. Based on everything I've done, like I said, my calculations could be wrong. I am not trained in rifles. I did a small firearm outdoor class, doing double taps and triple taps, stuff like that. But I'm sure somebody will call me out here like, Brad, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. There's no way in 400 feet a bullet's going to sit there and get pushed by a crosswind that much. But you heard it also from a guy that was trained that, probably didn't have it zeroed, whether the breathing was off or what. But I mean, you guys, 132 is not far, So Donald Trump saved his life with a tilt. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, he doesn't ever go off prompter. Yes, he does. I watch a lot of rallies. I watched so many rallies, you guys, that I missed the video itself live because I was pulling up the exact image that I knew he was talking about in real. That's how many rallies I watch. So he goes off teleprompter a lot, but that, him facing, but I think right now those crosshairs are actually closer to his temple, to almost the front of his cap than anything. That's what I think. So, and people rushing the shooter, right? They're yelling, hey, shooter, guy with a gun. All these play into being rushed. So I think, like I mentioned, I think his crosshairs were pretty spot on to Donald Trump's head there. So you have this coming out in terms of an inside job. What I want you to kind of hyper focus in on here is Attorney General Bill Barr. Attorney General, do I have that right? Ex-Attorney General, yeah, former Attorney General Bill Barr. Listen to his initial answer here. This is what gives me no confidence, not just this, no confidence in the FBI amidst all the other variables we've seen them do against Donald Trump, the ones that are handling the investigation.
You were the Attorney General twice. They're launching this investigation. The FBI is in charge. Do you trust this FBI
Watch this.
to do a clean investigation?
I think they should be given the chance to do the investigation, but I think Congress will be watching every step and do their own investigation. And I think there's a lot to investigate. I think those Secret Service agents on the detail.
Can we just go back to his initial, like, right when he started answering it? Does it seem confident to you guys? You guys let me know.
Investigation?
I think
that's all I need to hear. I don't need to hear anything else you have to say. If that's how you respond on national television, the body language, everything that this guy says. Fuck. No. Folks, we still don't even know about JFK. Why not? No. Yeah, well, why don't we know what happened to JFK still? Interesting. Allegedly, Donald Trump's going to release those papers, and I think after this, he freaking better. But, I don't really trust Congress and the government. So whatever they release, I'm never, I'll believe some of it. I'll be able to kind of piece together myself. But that's not what you want to see from, oh, well, shit, probably not. The same FBI that raided his home, the same attorney general in Congress that sat there and went after him and all that stuff. Yeah, they're trustworthy, you guys. Yeah, that's not an inside job. Nothing weird. Nothing funky going on. Even though, people that we saw beforehand, ex-military personnel are like thinking, this is a little weird. How is this possible? In statistics, anything deemed 5% or less in terms of probability is deemed to be what's called unlikely. Now, from what we're getting at, the likelihood of something like this being able to take place with no foozery, you guys, I'm being told is almost zero. When I use the term zero, that means in all literal sense, impossible of actually happening. Not like, oh, well, there's a chance. No, it's impossible. You will never see it happen. It's incapable of actually taking place. So when people are saying close to zero, is it possible? Yeah. But, you can connect the dots yourself. So reports here are coming out that Secret Service resources were diverted to Jill Biden's Saturday campaign event in Pittsburgh and away from Trump's. Many agents assigned to Trump were temporary placements. Oh, isn't that just lovely? Oh, isn't that just lovely? As the Gateway pundit reported, President Trump was nearly assassinated Saturday. We watched it live, and Trump was immediately grabbed his neck after being shot. He grabbed his ear. I mean, this is already false reporting. Secret Service agents promptly shielded Trump and guided him away. And Secret Service resources here were diverted to Jill Biden's event and away from Trump's because they followed agency protocol applying to Trump as a former president, according to 2 sources within the Secret Service community. There were also many supplemental agents from different field officers, not Trump's regular detail, provided security at the rally because Trump's regular detail had been overworked, some working 7 days straight, and only 2 counter snipers. We could send billions of dollars, $60 billion to Ukraine, and we can't even protect people that, quite frankly, could be the next president of the United States. We could protect everybody else around the world except our own people. $60 billion going to the Ukrainians, and we can't protect our own fucking people. Lovely. Oh, great. Oh, goody. Sure. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm sure some of that money's going to protecting the Zelensky. Sure, some of that money's going to protecting terrorists or whatever. Oh, I'm pissed. You're telling me we could send $40 to $87 million to the Taliban a week, and you can't afford to pay for more security for a dude that has assassination threats probably more than anybody else across the globe? And you're going to tell me that this is not an inside job or some fucking weird's going on? Sorry, you're not going to change my mind on it. I do think that something funky's going on here. Now, that doesn't mean that the people on the ground were a part of the inside job, but maybe part of like, hey, maybe if we remove a lot of this guy's Secret Service detail and claim that they were overworked and we couldn't find anybody else, and that we're going to attach the group that was part of him, that was allegedly supposed to be a part of him, to the president's wife, all these things. You know, when you sit there and slim down security, this is the type of stuff that happens, and I think they knew it. I have a feeling they probably knew there's a lot of people saying that they're going to go do something like this, and they go, hey, let's just loosen security and kind of, let's just see what happens. Let's just kind of just let the dice roll. But Trump is not just a former president. He's the first in modern history to have run for president again, and he has been the focus of several prosecutions and controversies, not to mention the fact that the Democrat Party has come out relentlessly and called this guy a threat since 2016. He's called him Hitler. He's going to destroy the country. You know, when you push that kind of propaganda on people that, quite frankly, aren't able to read between the lines of like he's not really a threat, they're going to go out and treat him like he's a threat and neutralize him. So Trump announces that he did in fact change his RNC, or that, well, he changed it. He didn't change the schedule. He did initially. He changed the schedule. He reverted back to the original schedule for the RNC, and he changed his speech as well. So good on him for doing that. And he said, based on yesterday's terrible events, I was going to delay my trip to Wisconsin and the Republican National Convention by 2 days, but have just decided that I cannot allow a shooter or potential assassin to force change to scheduling or anything else. So good on Trump for doing that. He made the comments, Unite America. It's going to be a little bit tough. I think he's the one to do it. Definitely not Joe Biden. We saw what happened. But here's the main thing that kind of also went viral was that you had reports, again, that local police officer retreated after would-be Trump assassin pointed a gun at him. So isn't that just a lovely freaking thing right there? So a local police officer retreated after a man who attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump pointed his rifle at him. So he ran. Oh, God. An anonymous source told the AP that the shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Cooks, pointed a gun at the police officer who was climbing up a ladder to confront him. After the police officer climbed back down, Crooks quickly fired at Trump and then killed by Secret Service sniper. I think if this is true, if this scenario is true, I think this is one of the reasons why Trump is still alive, because the shooter was rushed. And then, right, you're diverting. You already had your line of sight set up. You're diverted. People are screaming, shooter, shooter, shooter. You know you have to go quickly. I think that's one of the reasons. Probably didn't have the rifle zeroed. Probably didn't take into account the crosswind that's allegedly 5 miles an hour. It could have been more than that, by the way. And then didn't take into account the fact that the president was going to sit there and tilt his head. So a lot of those things are factors that saved Trump's life. And quite frankly, it was the Lord that saved Donald Trump. And that's why Donald Trump is here today. Looking at the live chat, folks, I see y'all in there. I see Secret Agent. I see Sunset. I see Pat, Golden Girl, Based Truth. Love to see you, good sir. We got a lot of people. Christina, KC, Cece, I see you. Lulu. Gabrielle's here. Red Lion. Dirk. We got a lot of people here. I missed you, I'm sorry. Bruce gave us 10 members, folks. Bruce, thank you again for your donation. Christy's here. Got a lot of people, a lot of patriots, folks. Love to see you. We're not done yet. We got a lot of news to cover. We are still going, folks. We are still going. If you haven't sat there and picked up yourself a Bald Brad mug, folks, what we do is we have coffee every single morning, and it's tough to find those brands that sit there and actually cater to your values. We spotlighted Rumble's pet food, that's ingredients, that's healthy, but Rumble also carries your values. So does this coffee company that we freaking love here on the Bald Brad Show. Say goodbye to Starbucks. I call it $5 and say hello to Rumble's. $17.75 coffee, folks. Unlike other brands, this is a coffee that backs free speech and it's unapologetic about it, which we love. 1775coffee.com. A lot of you actually drink this and you say it's great, and you're right. You can use promo code STUDIO40 to get 40% off your coffee subscription. They're giving this stuff away. 40%. The coffee comes in medium and dark roasts. It also comes in pea berry, which is kind of like a Kona coffee. I actually drink this. Actually is the Kona coffee. In other words, this stuff is the premium, baby. It's the best of the best. Click on the link below and in the description. You can also go directly to 1775coffee.com and use promo code STUDIO40. You guys said it didn't work last time. I went through it. You have to go to the main site, 1775coffee.com, and be able to get that today. I did notify Rumble themselves that it wasn't working last time, but they assured me it was, that it's user error. So take it for what it's worth, folks. But 1775coffee.com. That's where it's at, man. You guys support those patriotic brands, baby. Well, Biden orders thorough and swift investigation after the attempt on Trump's life. Now, here's the problem. I'm not going to break this down because the guy only spoke for about 4 minutes, right? And kind of T-Rexed his way out of the Oval Office, which people are attributing to his Parkinson's. Well, he's going to sit there and do a swift and full investigation. Yeah, the same people that you utilize to go after Donald Trump, not really going to believe much they have to say or do. We all saw what took place with Ronald Reagan. We also saw what took place with JFK. We've seen the foozery before, and they act like we're idiots. They act like, oh, we're going to sit there and, believe everything they say. And I think what I will be able to do is read through the report and see what's bullshit or not. Brad, do you get any recognition if we order from them? I don't get any recognition. In other words, I don't get commission from them. They're merely just sponsors, and they do pay us to do those ad reads live. So that's the recognition we need, and we want to make sure we support brands that here on the show that we can get behind. And so that's why I like predominantly doing Rumble type brands, is because Rumble is a proponent of free speech and conservative thought and ideas. So that's why we spotlight the pet food, because that's through Rumble. 1775 is through Rumble as well. Razors are through Rumble that we use. So we try to spotlight sponsors that, I think are comfortable. I don't want to be one of those that's like, oh, let's just do this brand and the brand sucks. Rumble's great. So Rumble takes care of us here. Trump says bullet felt like mosquito bite. Now, I think everybody's interested in what it feels like to be shot, especially in the ear. And Trump says he felt it tear through his skin. But he said it felt like a mosquito bite. There is an interview clip here with Brett Baier. And I want to make sure I play that for all of you. Here's Brett talking about it.
He said I could kind of express some of the things he talked about. He's in really great spirits. He is on his way to Milwaukee, leaving at 3:30. He made a Truth Social post about that, saying that you're not going to let the shooter affect any of his plans. Did consider delaying coming here to Milwaukee, but is moving forward with that. I want to put up that video at the beginning of that speech and just give you his words about characterizing how that all went down. At the speech, you see that he turns to the right. That's because there's this big graphic of immigration stats, about border security stats, and he wasn't doing it in his speech at that moment. Like, it was ahead of time, and he called up the graphic early, and so he turned sideways to look at the big graphic on the side, which is why his head is turned as he's looking that way. There you see it. And right at that moment, he gets this, what he calls like the biggest mosquito of his lifetime, or a bumblebee. That's what it feels like in his ear. And he realizes, he looks at his hand and it's blood, and he goes down. He said it happened so quickly, and then the Secret Service jump on him, and they're very strong. He really praised the Secret Service for acting.
Isn't that an unbelievable picture? The guy actually had his shutter speed at like 8,000 or something like that. And it actually catches 3 different frames where there was him before, you see this shot, and then you see him grab his ear. It's a pretty remarkable thing that this guy got this image here. I mean, you're seeing the bullet go through his ear. And people are going, oh, it's staged, it's fake. People are idiots, man. I'm telling you, there's wild people out there.
As they did, and protecting him. He also referenced this picture from Doug Mills, the New York Times photographer, and that bullet that you see there in the background, talking about it. He was amazed that it happened. He understands he's blessed to be where he is today. In fact, the doctor he said he talked to said if that bullet was a quarter of an inch different position, he would not be talking to that doctor today.
And I think, again, that was the detail. If you're just joining us, we got a lot of people that are just coming into the live stream. I think one of the key details people are leaving out is I think that guy's crosshairs was focused on Donald Trump's temple. Pretend like, sounds bad, pretend like you're the shooter and you're looking at me, right? I'm looking off, right, towards that. And I think he had him here, right? Right here. You go 1.5 inches drift of that 5-mile-an-hour wind, head tilt, boom. I think that's what took place. Now, I don't want to give myself a huge pat on the back here, but we also sit there and called in real time the analysis of everything, even ahead of the media. Immediately, what was it, 10 seconds live? I said, shots fired at Trump. Is he okay? We recognized the blood. We did analysis. We looked at the clip multiple times. We counted 8 shots right there. We played it in slow motion in real time. We sat there and said, he got shot in the ear. As you were all saying, other people are saying he got shot with a BB gun. I said, there's no way in hell. That was shots fired. Oh, it's firecrackers. People are doing exploded. I'm like, they're gunshots. I even said they're gunshots, lady. Got shot in the ear. We called it. And I even said, hey, he tucks in like that, similar to a Ronald Reagan. So we've seen people get shot before. He may have got shot in the chest. I don't know if that's true. Nobody said if it is or isn't. And only could have been shot a maximum of 3 times based on when shots were fired, the delay, and then the other additional 5 shots. So we'll see. So I'm sure somebody will call me out. And if I'm wrong, then hey, then I'm wrong. But I wanted to make sure that at least I ran some calculations for you, and it said 1.55 inches, 1.5 inches. That can deviate, folks. I'm just taking whatever information's applied. If it wasn't 5-mile-an-hour winds, it could have been 10. The height changes. The temperature affects it. The grain of the bullet. If it's an AR-15, a 5.56 round, 55 grain, that's going to affect things. If it's something different, like a 22, the lighter the bullet, the more that's going to have an impact in terms of wind and trajectory. So take that into account. And again, from what I've seen, nobody's talking about it. Now, the one thing that we were all here together during yesterday's live stream was that Joe Biden loved to lecture and loves to lecture the American people on things. And he's talking about lowering the temperature in the Oval Office during his address yesterday, which just freaking riled all of us up. We were all pissed about it. We can't allow this violence to be normalized, Biden said in the Oval Office on Saturday night or Sunday night. The political rage in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. Folks, Biden cited in 2017 congressional baseball shooting, the 2022 assault of Nancy Pelosi's husband and kidnapping plot against Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Biden also cited the January 6th riot, and Biden not mentioned the indictment of a man who told police he was planning on murdering Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Just conveniently left that one out. Police must never be a literal battlefield. Politics, rather. God forbid a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guiding by the Declaration of Independence in our Constitution. Biden has come under fire over resurfacers' marks during a call with donors last month. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye. He's going to lecture us on rhetoric, you guys. He's going to tell us to tone it down. We said this yesterday. This is a big talking point after the speech itself, that we need to change, you guys. Not the president, not the outgrowth of the Democrat Party, specifically the progressive left. Those people don't need to change, but you need to change. Everybody's calling on us to change. Oh, we need to tone it down all of a sudden. Like, why don't you guys tone it down? Not you, the viewer. How about the lefties out there that are sitting there running roughshod over all our cities, the crimes that are going on, the shootings that are taking place, the smash and grabs, the rhetoric themselves on social media. They're all upset that the bullet missed, which is a disgusting thing to say about anybody. These people are psychos, and they're crazy. The progressive left hate you, and they hate Donald Trump. In recent social media posts, Biden has called Trump both a threat to our democracy and genuine threat to this nation. And they're completely baffled. There's the receipts. They're completely baffled that somebody would go do something like this. I mean, they tried going after him, what was it, like 2018, when they tried to storm the stage on him that one time? Tucker Carlson's called it. We've said it in the past, like, what else would be left? I mean, there was an interview with Donald Trump Jr. where somebody was proposed the question of, like, dude, like, do you understand they're going to try to kill your father? And he's like, well, what else are they going to do? That's all they have. And they remove his Secret Service detail. Like, They're overworked, you guys, but we're going to give $60 billion to other countries. Man, it gets me riled up. The higher the stakes, the more fervent the passion become, he said. This place is an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, almost never descend into violence. So the guy that sits there is going to lecture us on all this stuff, but yet maybe he should look in the mirror himself just a little bit. And I'll be honest, even I reflected a lot on what's taken place in terms of my rhetoric here on the show. I refer to a lot of Democrats, and what I'm banking on when I do that is that my listeners can read between the lines that I'm not talking about the Democrat Party in general. I'm talking about those in the Democrat Party that don't share the same values as we do. And that's generally talked about the progressive left or the left-hand side of those that are outgrowths. And that's why I want to be specific. And we talk about it in the book, right? That's why it says the left is destroying America. It doesn't say the Democrat Party is destroying America, the left. There's people that are part of the Democrat Party that want to sit there and limit your freedom of speech or remove it altogether. There are people in the Democrat Party that are socialist. There are people in the Democrat Party that are communist. Those aren't conservative or Republican values. And so my hope is that my rhetoric, I'm going to try to just stay saying the left. We'll see if I can do it. But even my rhetoric, I kind of want to change a little bit because I don't want any of my viewers to go out and do something stupid. I don't like violence. I don't want violence. I know that's clear as day. I don't like racism. I don't like any of that stuff. I just personally, I think like a lot of you, we're average Joe Americans. We want lower taxes, smaller government, protect our people, protect our country, and, live a good life and have the government leave us the hell alone. Stop limiting our speech. Leave our firearms alone. Leave us alone. But I want to just be careful because, you can have an impact on people. And I don't want to have an impact that leads to somebody doing something stupid because, look, that kid, that 20-year-old evil scumbag, clearly was manipulated in some way, shape, or form, so much so that he went after a former president. So Biden, Pelosi, media, Democrat donors made extreme remarks targeting Trump in recent days. But don't worry, you guys, you have to cool your jets. No, you got to think about what you said and did. So far left host Joy Reid said earlier this month that Democrats needed to figure out who's the party nominee who would be so they can vote keep Hitler out of the White House. I mean, the rhetoric's just always there, right? This is not normal election where you want to win. If you don't, you cooperate and do the best you can for the country and hope to win next time. This is something that is undermining our democracy. He must be stopped. He cannot be president. I mean, this has been going on for years. It's been going on in the same way they sat there and covered up Joe Biden's cognitive decline. And they're going to now pretend like they didn't say all these things, you guys. And they're going to sit there and go, well, you guys need to change your rhetoric. What rhetoric do we have? We're not calling for the death of Joe Biden. Who the hell would do that? And by the way, if there is a conservative and Republican that is calling for the death of Joe Biden, and they're part of my channel, you could just leave. Because I don't want the death of anybody. Unless you're some sort of terrorist that's freaking destroying people. Okay? I think we all making sense here. Like, who the hell would be asking for the death of any? It's just insane to me. I know you guys know this. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's mind-blowing that we're the ones that have to change our rhetoric. That we have to sit there and look within ourselves when it's like, why don't you just look at your own outgrowth of your party, the progressive left that sat there and burned down cities, meaning Black Lives Matter and Antifa, and did all these things. But the guy that shot Trump is a registered Republican. I don't give a shit who he is. There's a lot of people that say they're a lot of things and they're not. You know what I mean? There's people that say they're Democrats, but really they're socialists, right? For example, Bernie Sanders. Well, I'm a Democrat socialist. So you're a socialist. You just put a name in front of it. Give me a break. You have an actress that was just completely dragged through the coals for calling Trump's assassination staged. This is how crazy these people are. This is how psycho these people are, folks. That it was staged. These people in Hollywood, I swear they've never shot guns or they've never been around guns in general. I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around it myself. But it's similar to when I think her name was Kamala Bryant was stabbing a lady in the neck. I mean, the knife was probably this close to the lady's neck and she was shot and killed. And Joy Behar of The View goes, well, couldn't the cop, this is real, we have it on tape, goes, couldn't we just have him fire a warning shot in the air? Or maybe he could have shot him in the kneecaps or the buttocks. That really happened. These are the people on The View. These people are idiots. And it's the same thing like, oh, it was staged. Like you guys were saying in the chat. Well, it was a BB gun. How is it that I didn't even see the shooting. I have headphones, right? I keep them on my lap because I don't want to wear them. I like to be able to hear correctly. But how is it I could sit here, have my screen covered, and hear pop, 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 like 2 feet distance, and go in my head, I think that's gunfire. Pop up my headphones like this and go, shots fired at the Trump rally. All the while, I'm not even there, and people there going, oh, there's fireworks popping off. Somebody was shot with a BB gun. Oh, there's bullets that went through the teleprompter. And we're looking at the teleprompter going, the teleprompter's fine. If you had a 5.56 round go through a teleprompter, which I don't think teleprompters are bulletproof. Maybe they are for all I know. I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's fine. Like, why? And we're doing this in real time, by the way. It's not like we're sitting there replaying the tape in the sense of like, oh, let's analyze everything. Like, yeah, teleprompter's fine. Well, it's the glass that grazed him. Oh, it was the Secret Service. I'm like, these people, man, they're not, like half a brain, just half of one sometimes. You know what I mean? And then, when we're off, that we're wrong, we're misinformation, disinformation, all these things. And so speaking of like the whole idea of like analyzing stuff and I don't know, having half a brain, here's CNN saying that Trump should have not told people to fight, fight, fight.
I say there was one thing that when I watched the tape, I found odd because of all of the heated rhetoric. And that is that after he was hit, former President Trump got up and said,
lady, the guy was just shot. Heated rhetoric. He was just shot. Pull your head out, please.
Fight, fight, fight. I think what we're hearing from people is that's not the message that we want to be sending right now. We want to tamp it down.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, it's they get paid millions of dollars to go up there and just, I swear their head is so far up there, you know what? They have not seen daylight in years. Oh, his rhetoric, he shouldn't be telling people to fight. The guy doesn't know if he was shot anywhere else. The adrenaline's going. He doesn't know if he's about to die. You don't know what the hell's going on through his head. Well, he should tone his rhetoric down. The guy just tried to kill him. He was almost just killed by the grace of God. He's alive right now. Well, he needs to tone his rhetoric down. This is from CNN. The same people that pushed the entire Russia hoax. The Biden laptop's not real. That he's a threat to democracy. He's going to destroy the country. Lady, why don't you look at your own network for once, and stop saying you're the most trustworthy, unbiased news outlet out there. How you Patriots doing in the chat? Am I making sense? Let me know, folks. You'll let me know in the chat, right? You'll let me know. If you're just joining us, we're going live again sporadically throughout this week, but we'll definitely be back for sure at 11:30 a.m. because we'll have Karine Jean-Pierre using her notebook to supposedly, allegedly answer people's questions. So, so much for deviating away from Joe Biden having a cognitive decline, right? I mean, this sure in hell got the news out there in a different limelight. Maybe that was also part of the inside job. Now, what's really interesting here is, check this out. January 6th panel chair dumps aide who posted, "Don't miss next time" after Trump shooting. Now, they're blaming this on the aide. And the reason why this is so important, I will tell you in just one moment, because it has everything to do with the blame being shifted on people during January 6th. A prominent House Democrat staffer who posted to social media about the gunman needing shooting lessons so you don't miss next time, wild thing to say, by the way, after former President Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt, is out of the job. Folks, this is how insane people are. This is how ridiculous these people on the Democrat side of the aisle are, specifically the left. These progressives, they're not Democrats. These people are not Democrats, you guys. Democrats are centrists. Democrats believe in freedom of speech. Democrats believe in the Second Amendment. They're moving further left, but it's the outgrowth that's pulling out of the party that's doing all these things, that's saying all these things. I was made aware of a post made by a staff member, and she is no longer in my employment. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, in the sense of, I don't know if this person wrote it, the staffer. I don't know if the actual person in Congress wrote it. Could it be that the person in Congress wrote it and had an oh shit moment, that they're they're batshit crazy and go, well, I got to fire somebody. I can't leave. It can't be me. An attack at the Trump rally. So the reason why I want to bring this up is because the gentleman you see on there the January 6th tapes, 40,000 hours, never shown to the public. We were only shown at best, 6 minutes of the January 6th tapes. Tucker Carlson gets his hands on it, and it shows all the time codes of where that guy, the Democrats and the staffers, looked at the tapes and declined to show it to the American people. You know, the guys with their hands in their pockets that are just shooting the shit while allegedly the government's being overran, right? I mean, that's what an insurrection is. It's the government that's being overtaken. Your government is about to collapse and the country is about to be done. Yeah, shooting the shit. Hey, how's the weather outside? Yeah, Trump. Yeah, you see Trump out there? Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of people outside. They ain't giving VIP tours, walking around. I'm not saying there wasn't chaos. That's not what I'm saying. But there also was a lot of just calmness. Like, yeah, man, there's a lot of crazy people out there, huh? A lot of people. Yeah, what are you doing for your kid's birthday this weekend? Just sitting there shooting the shit in the hallway. Yeah, tons of hours. This guy, who'd he blame it on? Who'd he blame it on? He said he didn't know. Who'd he blame it on? The staffers. In the same way here, you put out this text and you blame it on your staffer once again. That's why I find it very hard to believe. You somehow didn't know there's 40,000 hours of tape of January 6th. You somehow didn't see it yourself. And then you blamed it on your staffers. You knew nothing about it. Oh, bullshit. I do. These people are psychos, man. These people are psychos, folks. You also have, just conveniently, that all U.S. presidents assassinated in history or attempted assassinations were either communist or were Democrats. I wonder if we have it here. We don't have the image. Yeah, so if you look throughout history, folks, all people that were presidents were either Republican that were being assassinated by a Democrat, or you had JFK that was a Democrat being assassinated by a communist. Either way, all of them, let me be clear on this, every single one of them were on the left-hand side of the aisle. Every single one of them. But you need to change your rhetoric. We're the problem. Republicans are a threat, right? We're the racists. Even though we sit there and abolish slavery. You guys are against civil rights. Well, no, it was our votes that allowed civil rights to happen and truly gave black people their freedoms and everybody else that's a minority and all those other things. Well, you guys are against the democracy and the republic and the Constitution. No, not all. Actually, we're the ones that really look at, as textualists, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. We actually want to uphold those things. We want people to be able to utilize those freedoms and liberties that were handed down not by government but by God. Yeah, no, we're none of those things. We don't want assassination attempts. We don't want to harm people. We don't want to kill people. A lot of us are religious. We don't want any of those things. It's an odd thing. It tells you they know nothing about us, right? And but they say we don't know anything about them. But yet we grew up in leftist education. We grew up with leftist news outlets. We grew up with leftist movies, leftist propaganda, leftist books. Like, we grew up in the left. The fact that we actually all came out Republican and conservative is a miracle within itself, amidst all the indoctrination that we've been given our entire life. Like, we know the left like the back of our hands. The problem is they don't know us. They don't know our ideology. We don't call for people's deaths here unless you're like an active terrorist that's beheading people. We don't want to see presidents be shot. None of us here want to see that, but that's not what's being stated on the left. Really, really remarkable stuff here, folks. So you have this GOP coming out and just calling out the media, which is such an awesome clip, just sitting there reaming them, and quite frankly saying something that I think we all would want to say ourselves to the media. Here we go.
Yeah. You guys know about that? Yeah. So I don't know who you are, so I just like to, before I answer your question, what's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel from where?
From NBC.
And sir, where are you from?
Sorry, NJ Burkett with Channel 7.
Okay. So you want to talk about the fact the guy may be a Republican, or at least registered the Republican Party, which anybody in this country is free to do.
I didn't ask that question, by the way.
That's fine, but you did suggest, and you're talking about rhetoric. So are you saying that it's not okay for us to denounce violence? Are you saying that we should wait until we know what's going on? Everybody on the planet knows that you have MSNBC, the New York Times, Rachel Maddow, The View. You have Maxine Waters. Oh, let's get in their faces. You have this going on every day. And you dare to say to us, shouldn't we wait? No, we shouldn't wait. Right now is the time to say that we need to cool things down. We don't have to wait for your permission. We don't have to wait for anybody's permission, regardless of this young man's motivation. What he did was wrong. He tried to assassinate a president of the United States. And you stand there and say, well, maybe I should wait. maybe it's okay. Are you saying the fact that he was registered to the Republican Party absolves him of everything? Absolves all of the media, of all of the coverage they've done for the last 10 years? Absolutely not. That is a pathetic question, and I think you guys should be ashamed. I mean, I don't know you personally, but it's pathetic that you would even suggest that he's a Republican, therefore everything is okay. When you have social media, you have control of the media, you talk about the laptop, you talk about Russian collusion, all of that we have to forget, because maybe this guy was registered or is registered to the Republican Party. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
I don't think what he's saying is that. I think what they're saying is...
I don't think we're saying that. Yeah, you are. As somebody sitting right here that does nothing but scroll through headlines and read the media all day so we can bring you guys the news, that's exactly what they're doing. And even that state in which there's a registered Republican, there's reasons as to why you'd want to be a registered Republican so you could do certain things on the ballot. But even furthermore, I don't know many Republicans in my life that actually are registered Republican, but yet donate to their opposing party, the Democrat Party. So I find that a little odd. I've been a registered Republican my entire life. I've never once donated to, actually, I've never donated to anybody other than Donald Trump. I gave money to Donald Trump. I'm one of the card holders for Donald Trump. But I would never go out of my way to give money, even if it's $5, to the Democrat Party, because they don't hold my values. You tend to sit there and lead with your wallet, with your pocketbook. That tells you what you need to know about a voter, is that if they're willing to give money to somebody, it tells you where their heart is at. So a lot of people's heart is with their money. Things are tough, right? So that's why when you guys give your hard-earned money to the show, like that pulls at my heartstring, because that means you're really invested in it and you really care about the movement that we're doing here. Now, that doesn't mean that if you don't give your money that you don't care about the movement. That's not what I'm saying. But people tend to lead with their wallets, right? You're gonna purchase something that you think is of value. In the same way here, you're going to give to a candidate that you think is of value, that's going to sit there and carry forward your ideology or whatever narrative you want. Clearly, this individual gave to the Democrat Party, gave to Joe Biden during his inauguration. $15 for a 20-year-old kid, probably at that time 18, is a lot of money. You know, not everybody's killing it in life. So, you know, take that for what you will. But if he's a registered Republican, he ain't carrying our values. You could sit there and put a lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig, right? You could sit there and call yourself a Republican, but internally you're a Democrat. You're a Democrat. Well, folks, we got another ad read that's supporting the show, folks. Thank you so much for sitting through these guys. I really do appreciate it, but they are great opportunities for you if this is something you're looking for. So who is in control of America's nukes? Is it Biden? Is it Barack Obama? Who really is in control? We have Russian ships off the coast of Florida right now, folks. A full-blown war in Ukraine and Israel. The world is the most unstable since, quite frankly, World War II, except now with nuclear freaking weapons. The stakes are 10 times higher. And how do you feel like you and I are safe? Like, do you guys think that you're ready to go? Do you think if there was an emergency, you're all set in stone? Every person needs what's called a radio guard. It's an FDA-approved drug to treat radioactive fallout. Only the feds have it until now. That's why I partnered with 5G Free, the only company in the world that has a supply to Radio Guard and the ability to prescribe it. Folks, if there's something that goes off like a nuclear warhead above our airspace, the idea is, based on what we heard from China, is it doesn't actually have to hit the ground. They're going to explode it over our airwaves. The radioactive is going to fall upon all of us, but it's also going to take out our electric grid, which is why we've been covering that for Patriot, to get yourself a solar panel and a generator, so that when things go south, you're prepared. This is one of the things you are going to want to have if things go south. And hell, we're so close to World War III, it's head spinning. Get that radiation emergency kit right now, folks. If you go over to 5gfree.com/studio and use studio as a promo code, you get to save 10%. Get that radiation kit, folks, so you're taken care of if there ever is anything that goes south. A lot of us aren't prepared, and we need to be. There's also a lot of stuff that you can get in terms of like packages and medical kits. You know, you want to make sure you're prepared for, quite frankly, anything. But it's nice that we're finally getting something like that out to the market for just average Joes like you and I. So it wasn't just the shooter, right? If you found out that he had explosives in his car too, isn't that just a lovely thing? So authorities found explosives in the car of the 20-year-old would-be assassin of former President Donald Trump on Saturday after he opened fire. Law enforcement also found bomb-making materials at the home of the suspect, identified by the FBI as a 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Cook. So my question is like where were the parents at? I'm not, my parents just walked in my room whenever they wanted, right? It wasn't like grounds of like, oh, this is my space, you can't come in, right? It's their household, their room. I didn't have a lock on my door. You know, my mom would go in and sporadically sometimes clean my room or look around. You know, you go out for a trip with the boys and you come back and your room's all clean. Like, oh, my mom hooked me up. That's awesome. How do you not know your son has bomb making kit materials at home? You know what I mean? Like, he takes the father's, allegedly he takes the father's rifle, and it wasn't even his. Yeah, used the firearm that was purchased by his father. How do you not know? You know what I mean? Does nobody sit there and watch their kids nowadays? I mean, we got a lot of parents in the chat. I just figured I'd reach out to you guys. I mean, my parents were on my ass about everything. I didn't have a debit card. I remember in high school, I had to beg to sit there and even get a cell phone. It wasn't even a cell phone. It was only for emergency purposes. It was an Ericsson, and it was prepaid. You know what I mean? But somehow kids nowadays are just getting access to firearms and bomb making materials. And I had no idea. He was just up in his room studying. Yeah, studying. Oh, okay. Your kid has fucking all F's, man. What do you mean he's studying? Like, no, he puts in 5 hours a day studying. Like, geez, man, why don't you just be aware a little bit? Why don't you connect the dots? These are the same people that go, oh, it's a BB gun. Oh, he was a shard of glass that cut his ear. They're the same people. They're all the same people. It's remarkable. They're just not working, you know? No, he doesn't get it. You know, he's just up in his room studying just 5 hours and he fails every time. He's just a bad test taker. No, it's not how it works. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know how to draw a straight line. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So what they're going to do is they proposed a bill here of enhancing Secret Service protection for presidential candidates. The fact that you even have to do this is a remarkable thing, in my opinion. And it just shows, we talked about this earlier last week, is the closer you get to having to propose more laws like this, it shows you the denigration of this country. That the lack of morality that we're having as a nation, the lack of religious values, doesn't even have to be Christianity, just the lack of values in general, the lack of people going to church, the lack of people having a father figure in the household. The further that you move away from those things, the more you need things like this to take place. The more that's going to sit there and actually erode the institutions, it's going to erode your rights. And ultimately, that's where you're left with a country that's in peril, that's ultimately going to fall apart. And you're seeing that in the United States of America. I don't need to go further in depth on this. Just the fact that they're putting this forward is important, yes, but it's something that shouldn't have to be put forward at the end of the day. And Democrats are just, they're in complete chaos, just complete, absolute chaos right now. They don't know what to do. They don't know what their messaging is going to be. And I think that's partly the reason why we need to check out today's White House press briefing, is to see what is the messaging from the Democrat Party. What narrative are they going to spin? Because right now, rumor is that whole idea of dropping Joe is completely gone. From what I'm being told, is that the Democrat Party needs to unify right now. That's why he had that messaging of we need to unite the country coming from the mouthpiece himself, Joe Biden. Now, of course, Donald Trump's going to have that same messaging because I think we do need to unite as a country. I think it is crazy the fact that, hey, now we're at the point where they're trying to assassinate a former president. Last time we saw something that was on this level was Ronald Reagan, which was shot. Donald Trump was shot. And we have to see what that narrative is going to be. And I think we'll get a little bit of breadcrumbs today from the White House press briefing itself. Big Weave, thank you so much, sir, for the $2. Super generous. Big Weave gave some money just a few days ago as well, man. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. I love this community on here the best. I'm right there with you, man. We do have the best community. We got Pat. We got Sunset here. School is new, babysitter, then internet. Yes, that actually, you said that so perfectly, and that's actually the way I describe it to people. Again, I was not always a teacher. I wasn't always an educator. I was a public accountant. So I had my schooling. I went back 10 years later, maybe a little bit more. And it is just a glorified babysitter with a little bit of instruction sprinkled in. It's kind of sad to see. They need to bring back the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. The Pledge of Allegiance is in schools. I can't speak for every district, but I mean, I live in a predominantly leftist-leaning state, California. There's a Pledge of Allegiance. A lot of kids actually don't stand for it. You'll have a lot of kids that'll sit down. They don't respect the flag. They don't respect this nation. They have no religious values. You mostly get that in public school, though. Private school, they actually stand. Private school, if you go to a Catholic private school, that's where you want to send your kids. You don't want to send your kids to public school, quite frankly. And just might as well be honest with it. Catholic private schools or Christian private schools, whatever you can find. I know a lot of people can't pay for it, but I think it's worth every penny, every freaking penny. Me personally, I'd homeschool. I know I have obviously friends that are teachers that homeschool their kids. They don't even put them in public school. That tells you everything you need to know right there, that they're not even willing to send their kids to public school, that they will homeschool their kids. YouTube censored my comment. Well, John, join the club, my friend. Join the club. Oh, we get censored all the time here. Remember, folks, 62,000 subscribers, which I appreciate everybody joining. But again, like I mentioned, sometimes we get more viewers on Rumble with 700 followers on Rumble now. We are growing, so head over to Rumble and give us that follow. We finally hit 700. We're on the road to 1,000. But we get more viewers on Rumble with 700 followers than we actually do on YouTube with 62,000 followers, which is pretty insane. So we feel you, man, on the censorship. That's why we got to back those sponsors that we have. Instead of Joe's speech, cool down, eat more ice cream. Absolutely. What's going on, Gianni? Hello, Brad and the crew. Good to have you. Like I said, folks, we're going to be live again at 8:30. Wow, geez, 11:30 a.m. With the press briefing, but she's known to be an hour, 45 minutes late. So that was the record. Constitutional Republic. Mom is a Democrat, and I will never understand. You know, it's interesting. Me and my buddies talk about it. We have a lot of friends that are Democrats, and quite frankly, they're intellectuals. They're actually really smart. And it's a weird thing to see of how they just hate Donald Trump so much that they can't sit there and cross the aisle and vote for the guy. You know what I mean? That they're going to vote for Joe Biden. I mean, you saw a guy in here yesterday that was going to vote for Joe Biden again, but couldn't give us a single reason as to why he would vote for him. He's just going to vote for him. I don't understand that. I can give you a list of reasons why I'd vote for Joe Biden, or well, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, a list of reasons why I wouldn't vote for Joe Biden, but you know, they can't do it. I give you a laundry. The thing that I've always said is I can give you a laundry list of all the problems with Joe Biden, right? My question has always been, what are the pros that a Biden supporter is seeing that outweighs all of the cons? That's what I have a struggle understanding, because I try to get in the heads of people, right? I try to understand, okay, what makes you tick? What makes you work? Why are you reasoned in the way you are in terms of voting for Joe Biden that I'm somehow missing? Because I get the understanding they don't like Donald Trump, right? They maybe, you know, that they base their life off feelings and emotions, and I don't do that. I try to off of rationale and logic. I try to separate myself from my emotions, because emotions are constantly changing, and that could be a dangerous thing to rely on emotions for your thinking, for your decision making, for your actions. And so I try to understand them, and I try to get in their head of why they would vote for the guy. I get not voting for Donald Trump. I fully understand that, actually. But to go out and pick Joe Biden at the top of the ticket doesn't make sense to me. Like, if there was a Republican candidate that I didn't like, then I just wouldn't vote at the top of the ticket. You know what I mean? Especially if they were doing what Joe Biden's doing. So it never made sense to me. Really weird thing. And that individual actually asked, just so you guys are aware, I'd rather be transparent. That individual yesterday that we were talking about on the show that was in the live chat trolling, he did request to come onto the show so he can give his viewpoint. Let me explain to you why I told him it's not worth my time. It's not worth my time. I'd rather spend time with patriots. I don't know who the guy is. He can be a complete psycho for all I know. And by the way, I sat there and waited 20 minutes for him to give me one reason as to why he's voting for Joe, and he couldn't do it. So why on God's green earth would I sit there and schedule a whole Zoom meeting, all these things, figure out who this guy is he a psycho? I don't know what the hell this guy is, and bring him onto my show when he couldn't even give me one reason in 20 minutes? It's a waste of time for me. It's a waste of time for you. And like I said, we could be sitting here and being gaslit just like Karine Jean-Pierre does to everybody in the White House press briefing room. And I don't want to do that to my viewers. So if he was more genuine and actually gave us a laundry list of things, then, you know, maybe it would have been a different story. But we all sat here spinning our wheels. David Prince, I appreciate your show and what you are doing here. Unfortunately, now that I've found you, I have to choose between you and Crowder for who I'm watching live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You won today. David, thank you so much. If it means anything, we are going to 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in about 3 weeks. So the show will transition to 6 a.m. and not 7 a.m. So you will be able to watch anything and everything. And that's one of the reasons why we do a morning show, is we want people to be able to kind of get a nice warm up to the news and then jump into those other programs as well. And not many people are doing a 6 a.m. show, or quite frankly, even really 7 a.m. too much. So if you want to wake up early and catch the Ball Brad show, it would be greatly appreciated. Crowder's great. So is Dan Bongino, all those other people. You set up a fake chat, do a VOD, and cut the funny parts. I don't know what that means. Do a fake chat. Democrats have a hive mind. Set up a fake chat, do a VOD, and cut the funny parts. Oh, you mean like do a VOD with the guy? I don't know what that means. Ephesians 6:12. Good morning, Patriots watching from Virginia. How's the weather over there? Virginia can be hot. Exactly, Brad. They're voting straight blue ticket. Yeah. People are trying to say what red wave because Trump and what took place with the assassination attempt. I have a tough time I have a tough time thinking there'll be a red wave, folks. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to push that on the show. We need to get out and vote regardless. If there's a red wave, great, but we need to make sure we get to the polls. With that being said, folks, a lot of you saying we're going to go get breakfast. I'm going to go eat as well, Pat. We will be back here again in just a couple hours with the White House press briefing. We'll go over the latest news that we're seeing all around the media. And folks, thank you so much for taking the time out this morning to choose me to be the person that you want to watch first. Head over to Dan Bongino. I believe he's live right now. Show him a little bit of love. Tell him that you are from the Bald Brad Show. Spam that chat saying the Bald Brad Show sent us. And with that being said, folks, I will see you later today here on the Bald Brad Show.